20 years ago, a seed was planted and cared for. We painstakingly nurtured it and weathered it against adversity until one day it blossomed and the fruits of our labor began to show. Today, millions have learned, shared, and been inspired by what our community has produced. We proudly served 21 million users from 204 countries in 2019. For our 85,000 technical articles, code samples, and videos, our 450,000 forum questions, and our highly anticipated conferences and events featuring keynote panels, live streams, and industry experts and influencers. We recognize and reward members for their dedication to the community. Through content contributions and mentorships, we ranked number 2,620 in the world with a reach of millions across our social media channels. Thanks to you, our global community of software and data developers grows stronger each day. For more information, visit us at CSharpCorner.com.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Growth Mindset Show. My name is Mahesh Chand, the founder of CSharpCorner. This is a nice, breezy Friday here in Philadelphia area, outside of Philadelphia. Thank you for joining me here today. We have a bunch of people joining in. I see, good morning, Bhaskar. How are you? Long time no see. Good to see you guys. As we know, in this show, we talked about different things, different topics. And purpose is really learning something new every week, right? That's what we do here in Growth Mindset is try to learn something different, something new, something it makes us think on different ways, right? Different, and eventually the growth. Every episode you watch here should be helping you at least learn something new and helping you in your growth. And today's topic is like, how do you want to become a technical author? If you want to, so many people ask me questions, send me a message or on social media. They ask me that I want to publish my own book. I want to write to become a technical author. How do I become that? So and the reason I picked this topic actually yesterday is because some people asked me a couple of times. Actually, two people asked me that they're working on a book. They don't know how to publish it. How was the process, and how they can get their book published by the real publisher. And publishing doesn't mean I'm not talking about publishing your own book in a PDF and sell it on Amazon. I mean, how do you become a real author, published author with a publication? So that's one thing we will talk today. Anything else you have in mind, you can ask questions. But again, come and say hi and just tell us where you're joining us from. Are you new, or you've been watching the show? How do you like the show? Any topics you have in mind you want me to cover, we can definitely cover those as well. Deepak, good evening from India. Hello, Akula Nitin. Where are you joining us from? Nice to see you. Looks like we have some new people joining us. Thank you for your comments, letting me know. At least I know who's joining me. And then again, some topics questions can be anything. They don't have to be related to the publishing in a book, but that's kind of main topic today. It's more like, think of this show as like a radio show. You can call and you can just say anything. You can ask questions. You can comment on certain things if you're agreeing or disagreeing. It's always to disagree. It doesn't have to be agree all the time. Okay. We have who else is joining us? Simon, anybody else joining us? Guys, let us know where you're joining us from. Hey, we can give away some cool goodies. Maybe we will ask a question or two in between, Simon. Today we're going to ask a couple of questions about maybe my books or CSharpCorner. And if you can answer that, you'll win a CSharpCorner goodies. So let me start with a question now, and you can post questions as what was the first, no, what, let me ask this question. Let me repeat this. What was the date when first article was published on C Sharp Corner? What was the exact date when first article was published? When the first article was published on C Sharp Corner? That's number one question. Number two question is what? When was my first book published? Month and year, maybe. Year is, yeah, that's too vague. Month and year. So that'll be good. Those are two good questions. Um, so Deepak says growth mindset is a good rating, 10 by 10. That's great. That's good to hear us, Deepak. I'm glad you're learning something here. Um, so yeah, let's get started. Give a couple of minutes more time. Who else is joining us, guys? Post us your comment where you're joining us, and I want to get involved, get you involved, engaged. All right. Besides, so before we start this topic, what else happened last week? A lot of things happened on last week on C Sharp Corner. We are spending a lot of time brainstorming. We are hiring new developers to the team. Somebody who knows C Sharp and .NET, one or two or three people we are hiring. And you'll say, why are we hiring? Because we are rebuilding the product. We are rebuilding the whole platform. Right now, this is in ASP.NET. We are trying to move to Blazor. That's our goal. So we are hiring people who should know ASP.NET and C Sharp and database SQL Server, but eventually they will migrate to Blazor. That's what we are looking for people in that. Younger, better. The reason 1 to 3 years is good for us is because they want to learn, and even you have a little bit more experience, let me know. You have to be, unfortunately, you have to be either in the U.S. or India. Um, it's hard for us to work in different countries for just legal reasons. It's hard for companies to work outside of those two locations, two countries. All right, so let's get started. So yeah, how did I become how did I publish my book? Right, that's how I'll share with you. So I started C Sharp Corner in 2000. To be exact, 99 December 99 was when I was writing and planning, and I think it was live at that time, but domain was taken. And everything was good, but I think in let's just call it January 2000 was when it was launched, C Sharp Corner. So it's been 21 years, long time, long time. So when I was writing my articles in the beginning, they were kind of whatever. I was just learning. At that time, there was no C Sharp content at all. There's no help. There's no documentation. There's no website. There's no online resource. There was nothing. If you go back to that world, there was web publishing, blogging, um, code sharing, especially in Microsoft Word, C Sharp, .NET, there was not much there. All say nothing. So if you have to write a program in C Sharp, you have to kind of dig deep, learn yourself, figure out from the libraries, from the classes, uh, so how to use a class and how to write code for that. So that's really, so I was learning C Sharp and I was writing about it because, and when I was writing, I was manually creating kind of uh, blog, you can call them, or articles, doesn't matter. And I was sharing my code. And the purpose was, okay, if you want to learn C Sharp, rather than you going through the digging deep and spending hours and hours, you can just read the article or read the blog and just download this code and you're good to go. And I was publishing the entire my code as a project online on C Sharp Corner. So like right now, what you would do in GitHub today. That's what I was doing, is putting my code out there as an open source, and I was writing about the code, how the code works. And that's what we do on GitHub today. So in 2000, I got some emails from A Press. A Press, hey Venkat, good to see you. You are our regular guest here. I mean, audience. I see you every week. Thanks for coming, joining us this Friday. So I'm telling my story how I published my first book. Today we are talking about publications and how do you want to publish your own book, and I'm sharing my stories. So I wrote my this first article on GDI plus because I built a I wrote a lot at that time. Funny thing is at my work, you would say, oh, how did I start working on C sharp? I was working in C++ at that time, Visual C++ at my work in town. And thing with C++ and MFC and ATL was it was a lot of you have if you're building a UI applications, user interfaces, desktop applications. It used to take a lot of time to build applications. It wasn't like a, okay, here's window, here's the controls, here is event, click event, and you're done, right? It used to be a lot more time. There's a lot of manual codes to be written. There was no Visual Studio, wasn't Visual Studio at that time. um, so I wrote my, I know I learned a lot on GDI Plus because one of the product we were building in that company was related to drawing and graphics. So we were, you can draw a bunch of things on the screen. Think of this as it today. If you look at the modern, you know, paintbrush, paint or something, paintbrush, or a little more advanced than paintbrush. But what product I was working on at that time is that you can drag and drop different boxes, rectangles, circles. Uh, you can create UIs, and in the behind the scene, this software will create code for you. Okay, so it's like what you call it today, UI UX for building your web pages or your low code, no code. That was, remember, that was 99. In 99, we were working on a product, and product was called K-Skin. I exactly know the product. Product didn't do well. It failed. It didn't do much, and it was not successful at all. But the product I was working was on. We were just two developers working on it, me and Owen. The product was called K-Skin, and the idea was on a screen, on a Windows screen, you can drag and drop these different UI components like rectangle, circle, lines, and build your screen in the behind the scene. This tool will write code for you. And then you can take the code and then compile in Visual Studio, and there you go, your code is written. But rather than writing code, you are building screens and UI. That was the product. So we were doing that in C++, and that was a lot of work. And then C Sharp came. And then C Sharp came, and it was very early. Nobody knew it. You had to install it from a CD alpha version. There was no documentation, all that. So I was learning that. While I was learning building my application, then I was writing about how to do that. And my first article was on GDI Plus. GDI Plus is a technology that is used in .NET to build UI graphics user interfaces. So I wrote an article on and just put it out there on CSharpCorner, and I guess publishers found me at that time. And in 2000 in A-Press, I know Karen Watterson. Karen Watterson contacted me. She was the editorial director there. Like, Mahesh, we like your article. Would you be interested in writing a book in C Sharp and .NET? And that was 2000. So that's how I got started, and that's when I published my first. This was my first book of ADO.NET and C Sharp, a programmer's guide to ADO.NET and C Sharp. It's not an amazing book, but this was pretty good at that time. Okay, it gives you let's see, it has 600-700 pages, but I writing this book, it took me a year and a half because book was published in 2001. Yes, Bhaskar said 2001. Um, because the .NET and C Sharp was in alpha version, and there were so many, every beta version, and all these things will come. They, it will change a lot. It will change a lot. So there's a lot of time, a lot of things change, and then you have to upgrade the code. You have to test them again. You have to make sure it's running. Yeah, but in 2001, if you, let's see the date, I don't know if it has date on it. Um, does not have exact date, but yeah, it was published in 2001. And this was done in .NET 1.0. But it has every little details about ADO.NET. ADO.NET is a library if you are working with databases in C Sharp. And it still works. Like some code will still work. Obviously, a lot of things have changed since then. Uh, so the no, the first book was published on 2001, not 2007. That's his incorrect answer. Bhaskar has the right answer. Bhaskar, you win. So Simon will. So yeah, the idea of the book was really to learn more, dig deep into the library, how to use most of the functionality in the library, and I build more like tutorials. So I wouldn't call it a great book, but it's a first book. It was That's how it was. Then then I also work on this book. This book was, again, it is graphics programming with GDI plus. It has ideas. They're very basic things you learn in these, and then obviously you figure out how to build your systems, but it's more like a tutorial, gives you all the details. And this was even third book. Then Apress said, hey, this is a good book, C Sharp Corner. This is a book, C Sharp book was great. Can we build another book on VB.NET? And I think, yeah, then I built, this is a VB.NET, exactly. Yep. Yeah, so this book is a VB.NET book, correct. This is a little, yeah. So yeah, this was so I end up, long story short, that's how I started in the writing this book part. But let's back to the main question. If you were wondering how do you want to publish your book, so I have written an article on CSharpCorner, and I'm going to update that article. It's a load article. So Simon, if you can share the screen, I'm going to run through that. If you want to become an author, this article has all the details. If you want to become a technical author, um, all right. So that's not good. I can hardly see the screen because this is supposed to be my deck. Right? Yeah. So first thing you need to do is, hey, Dave, how are you? You want to jump in here if you feel like coming for 10-15 minutes in the show, come join us. We are just talking about today how to become a technical author, tech published author, not just like going your own, but with a publisher. So, um, so yep. So what first thing? Let's say you want to become an author. What you need? I think first thing you need is you need to have a good topic in mind. And the topic not should be just no worries, David. Um, so first thing you need to do is come up with a topic. And topic cannot be just any topic. Something at least you are good at it. Something actually you can call yourself an expert. You cannot just write a book on anything you don't know about. Okay, so to me that should be your first um, research is okay, what I really want to write book on. Book can be something on you are working, or let's say you're working on a cloud native technology recently at your work, and you've been doing a lot of work there. You know a lot about it, you learn a lot, you found some tricks and tips, you build a solutions on that. That's a perfect example of picking a topic. All right. Simon, you can just scroll down there. So now you have a topic, right? You have a topic, what you want to write on. You can keep down when you see those titles. Then what you're going to do is, because if just because you have a topic, you have publishers are not going to really uh, give you the chance. If you are, especially if you are a new person in the space, right? If you're already published author, have written several books, that's easy for you. You already have a contact. But this is if you don't have any contact. What you're going to do then is, or also write a TOC, table of content. You feel like this is the table of content my book should have. And if possible, write a sample chapter. It doesn't have to be uh, really detailed, but at least write a small sample chapter. So once you have these three things ready, a topic in mind, a table of content, and then you have a chapter, then what you can really do is start going through these publisher websites. You can go to Apress, Roxpress, Pacti. There's a bunch of out there, and then they have a contact form there. There's a contact place. If you're an author, you can contact them and send them your details. So that's one way to do it. And what happens is then they're going to look at your table of content and your book title and then your chapter. But here's the trick. If you're writing, say, if your topic is something they already have a book on, chances are they're probably not going to accept it. So you need to pick a topic, or you have to kind of know that your topic is unique and they don't have a book at it. So, for example, if you want to write a book for, say, PACT, let me target PACT or a press, you have to go to their website and see that they don't have a book on that topic, right? So, for example, cloud native. If you go to PACT and look at the cloud native, they already have a bunch of books out there. It will be hard for you to get selected. So you want to go to a different publisher who don't have that book already in mind, or they're not working on it. That's one thing you need to keep in mind. Um, Once you publish them, then it's pretty standard. Then publishers have a process to follow. They will send you a contract. They will tell you how much royalties you're going to get paid. If you want some advance, then they're going to also send you some templates you have to follow to write the books. You have to kind of put it can be your usually they each publisher have their own template, and in template then you start using and put your content in the template. Templates also have it's a word template usually, and templates also have these how you're going to format the images, how you're going to format the text, how you're going to format the code, how you're going to format the images, and all that. It's already part of the template. So that's kind of it works. And then after every chapter is done and core is done, you're going to send them. They hire then reviewers on the side by side. They're going to review your book and they give you feedback. So after every chapter, you're going to submit a chapter with the code. They will have a technical reviewer. Technical reviewer is going to review your chapter, and side by side going to give you the feedback, and then you can go and fix the feedback. So that's kind of your process works. Hopefully so far so good. So far so good. Everybody's clear on that. If you have any questions on this process, feel free to ask your questions. I'm just running through my experience here, and as also I'm going to update that article as well. So any questions so far? No. If you have, just post it here. David says his makeup person didn't come today, so he can't come online. It's okay, David. Don't worry. We all love you here. You can come however you want, as long as you have some clothes on. All right. So, how long does it take to write a book? That's a good question. A lot of people ask that, and some of them sometimes you're not prepared for that. It's a long process. Writing a book can take you a year, a little less, depends on how much time you have, how good you are in the writing. But 6 months is a kind of pretty good amount of time. And I think these days things have changed in last few years. Now you want to write a book. They are like shorter. They're like a less number of pages, probably 200, 300 pages. You don't want to write a book with 1,000 pages because that's overkill. And you don't want to take 2 years by the time you finish the book. You got a new product out there. Your .NET is changed totally, or Azure is changed totally, right? So goal should be, if you're writing a book, you should finish that within a 6 months, or even quicker. It should be 200 to 300 pages. It should be more focused on a topic itself. So that's what it should be right now. It should not be more like I want to write a book on everything on C#, and then you're just taking 2 years. That's kind of should be the process. So yeah, Bhaskar has a question. While writing a book, can we get a reference from some other books websites? So that's a good question. When you're writing a book and you have reference, you can learn from it. So for example, you're writing a book on, say, ADO.NET or in C#. You can learn from Microsoft Documents. You can learn from any books. That's fine. But the content and the text and the code, it has to be your own. You cannot exactly take the same code and change it a little bit and publish it. That's a bad. It has to be your own idea. If you're writing a application, say you're building your own application, it has to be your idea. You cannot have application written by somebody else and you just repackage or rewrite the code, that's not a good idea. In other words, for example, if somebody has, for example, in my let's say my GDI Plus book, if somebody has created online a online editor for graphics and drawing, I cannot do build exactly same application. It should be different. It should be your own idea. Everything should be your own original. That's the first rule. Otherwise, you're going to get a big backlash and big name out there. You definitely cannot copy and paste content from even Microsoft document. You can take a couple of lines when you are kind of referencing, says, oh, this author on Microsoft said this about this library. That's pretty much it, but it has to be written by your own words and your own understanding how you think of that. That's the important part. Yeah, so the Dave says not from other books unless you can get permission. I would say some for the web, but it's less of an issue. Yeah, you can legally, but you don't want to anyway. The reason you don't want to is because author may not have a problem, but some people are going to say, "What is this? Like I paid for this books and you just copied some content from here." That's another challenge, right? Um, and then Bhaskar has another question says, should we show our table of content before writing or completing the book? Yeah, you can share your table of content. I don't think nobody cares of your table of content. It's not like people are gonna copy it. Yeah, it's fine. You can have your own table of content. But the idea is really, well, you're gonna share with your publisher table of content ahead of the time before even your book get published or approved. Not published, even your book project get approved. They will ask you for TOC anyway. But yeah, so table of content is not a problem, and nobody's writing same book on the same topic. Even they have their own ideas. They have their own table of content. So yes, publishers need table of content. They need the book title. They need a one sample chapter before they can actually sign a contract with you. That is correct. That gives them an idea that yeah, you know exactly what you're writing about. You're not just newcomer there. So with that covers to me. I think that covers the whole publishing process. Hopefully, you get the idea how to get started, how to publish, and then my last topic is this: how much money you make from publishing a book, and that's a very tricky question. You need to ask yourself, why are you publishing? Why are you want to publish a book? Why you need to ask yourself. Some people publish it because they want to become an author. They want to get their name out there. They feel, it's like achievement to some people. And yes, that's a big achievement. Writing a book is not an easy task. If it was easy, everybody can go and write a book, right? On your profile, you can say you are a published author. And I'm not talking about somebody going and publishing their own PDF. I'm talking about a real book published by a real publisher. And it's a good, when you publish book with real publisher, it's a serious process involved. There are multiple people involved in the process, and there's a marketing and sales, and they publish a book, they already know they're going to send tens of thousands, if not more. At least several thousand copies in different stores, different online, different whatever. If they are publishing a PDF, a digital version, they know they have some plan in mind. So they spend a lot of energy, time, and money in it. So how much money you make really, it depends on book to book. These days, a lot of people don't buy books a lot, right? Book writing is not a very profitable business in today's world right now, because almost everything is open source. Almost all help you can find online. All you have to do is search Google. And even CSharpCorner, I can blame CSharpCorner for some of it, that we put so much content out there and it's free. Why would I buy a book? Some books still sell, right? So if you have a topic in mind, this topic, it's a solution. It shows you how, let's say, for example, how to architect a, high performance, scalable native cloud application. If you write a book on it, I'm sure somebody will buy it. I'm sure it will sell. Uh, but you cannot be. I don't think you'll become rich from writing books these days, right? So David said he made $40 this month. So I don't know, David, is this your book published from publisher? What book you're talking about? Here we are talking about the books published by publisher. So my book, believe it or not, this book was published. This graphics programming with the GDI plus. This book was published. I think it was in 2003. I'm gonna look at it. Where's the date? Do, do, do. Yeah. Do, do, do. Well, I can't find a date here. Regardless, I think it was published in 2002 or 2003. Um, yeah, this was 2002 or 2003. But it still make money. It doesn't make a lot of money. I still get royalty check from from publisher. I still get, every year I get probably, I don't know, $50, $100 check because so 13 copies sold somewhere. And I think I get a couple of bucks each copy. So yeah, I still get money from it. So, and it make me good money. In the beginning, I think when my book was launched, it sold, I think, 10, 12,000 copies. So it made me pretty good money. I wouldn't say it didn't make, but these days it's hard to make money. It's a different. I'm talking about the time when we used to learn programming from books. But if you want to write and publish a book, saying that I want to become a published author, that's where I'm talking about. And I think the Pact is one of the growing publishers. They publish a lot of books and on topics, good topics. So we are also on C Sharp Corner. We are gonna start our own, publishing digital books, not the printed books, but just more like ebooks and PDFs. We already have books on C Sharp Corner. So Simon, maybe you can share the link. I'm sure most of you already know that we have hundreds of books already on C Sharp Corner. Most of them are free. Most of them are simple books. I wrote a lot of them myself. I would say I don't know exact how many, but I pick a topic. I'll pick a topic, for example, C Sharp 7.0, whatever. And then I'll write a book, a smaller book, maybe, 20, 30, 40 pages. But look at that. If you go to C Sharp and books at the header, if you click on the books link, we have here, I would say, hundreds of books. I don't know exact number, but you can see books on full stack. You can books on Angular. There's book on C Sharp. There's book on Azure. Few of these books are also published from Microsoft, right? It's available free, so they're available there. A lot of our MVPs wrote some of these books, right? C Sharp Corner MVPs have published their own books. And look at that. There's even a book on Knockout. I forgot about Knockout. Is it still around, Knockout JS? Yeah, some of these books are old, right? Few .NET interview questions. And with these books, if you look at them, they're downloads. Some of them are downloaded by hundreds of thousands of people. It's a lot of books. They have, I know a couple of books. They're downloaded by, I think, a lot. So these books are available. But what we are going to do on C Sharp Corner is next extension to C Sharp Corner is we are going to have our own paid ebooks. And we have hired just a manager and director for the program. She's start working on this as well. So if you're interested in publishing your own book, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to Simon. You can reach out to anybody on C Sharp Corner. And if you are an expert in that area and that field or that topic, yeah, look at that. Learn basics of XML. That book was written a while ago. So it's a fundamentals of XML. Yeah. So if you say, you know what, I want to publish my own book, I want to return, so you can contact C Sharp Corner. We will help you publish the book. We will help you sell. It's going to have price. We're going to do and market and all that. So reach out to us. So I think with that, I think, Simon, that covers my topic of the day today. I don't have anything else to cover from this topic. If you still have any questions, you can ask us here. With that said, I think there's a lot of things coming up next. I want to talk about there's a .NET conference coming up in January. and I know David and Simon are working on that. So we're gonna announce that coming soon. You're gonna see a big announcement from C Sharp Corner and social media on .NET conference. This is going to be a big conference. I don't know how many days right now. We're still working on that. So watch out for that .NET conference coming up in January. Excuse me. Um, we are also going to announce some more things. We are actually going to launch we have a training website. We tried to pilot this couple of years ago, last year, and it worked out good. Product is good. But we are going to launch a training website, and right now we are working on it. So in few months, yeah, these are old training courses here. So we are kind of redoing this a little bit. But in the next couple of weeks and months, you're going to start seeing more real training content here. It's similar to any other online training. You can just go pick a course, buy it, and then just start learning online. And yeah, there's more things coming up. So I'm just want to give you a little preview and head start on that. So keep an eye for these announcements. And Dave said that for .NET conference, call for papers is live now. You can submit your proposals, your speaking topics. It ends on December 20th, so there'll be no more after that. So Simon, maybe you can put a link on that. There you go. Yeah. So that's the link if you're interested in publishing, in speaking at this .NET conference coming up in 2022. This will be our first conference of 2022. So that's something to think about. Oh, and we are also thinking about doing a live in-person CSharpCorner conference, annual conference in India, in Delhi. So let's see how that comes up. But I think Simon is working on it. I think we have a tentative month. You think Simon will do in March? So far, we are toying. We're playing around the idea of March. In March 2022, we can probably do in-person conference in India. I think in India, COVID situation is under control. I don't see major issues, problems. I don't hear a lot of things, problems there. US, it's also under control now. I think kids are getting a little more affected, but hopefully we should be able to do, or hopefully we are able to do this in-person .NET C Sharp annual conference again in Delhi this in 2022. With that said, I think that is all from me today. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out, stopping by, posting your comments, and sharing your thoughts with me. And with that said, thank you so much, and I'll see you next Friday.